You're welcome back. Well, the President Muhammadu Buhari, has signed a 982.7 billion naira 2021 supplementary appropriation bill into law. The budget is to address urgent security and COVID-19 needs of the nation. Obviously, these are pressing economic needs, and Nigerians will be looking forward to the impact of the supplementary budget in these areas. We have sharing his thoughts with us on this, Nosike Wanjide. He's a research analyst with Financial Derivatives Company. Good morning, Nosike. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So we have the supplementary budgets signed into law now to take care of COVID, which is an obvious, need.
Yes.
Security.
That came up for us last year, and security.
Another major issue there.
So what should Nigerians be expecting from this supplementary budget?
Insecurity, as it stands, it's the overriding concern for not just the government, but every investor, everyone who has a business or a job, or who needs to leave his house.
Who is even living in Nigeria?
Who has children in school and all whatnot. So, I mean, if you are spending that much, I mean, the bulk of it is going to tackle insecurity. So it's going to security agencies. So it's equipment, it's I imagine training of personnel, because you hear sometimes in the news that they're not trained to tackle banditry and some of the things that we face now. So I imagine that some of that funding is going towards training the personnel, bringing them up to the point where they have adequate training to face these bandits and terrorists and all whatnot. So, and equipment as well. If you tackle insecurity, I mean, the opportunity cost of not spending the money is okay. The status quo. Let's carry on as things are. And things would probably get much worse. You have children unable to go to school. There are some routes.
I mean, in Kaduna schools
in Kaduna,
schools have been
higher
shut down
institutions
now.
as well. Yeah, there are some routes, there's some roads you can't travel by because, I mean, you know that you're going to get kidnapped. Even military personnel getting kidnapped. So you need to tackle this. You need to. There will be a boost to investor confidence. When we know, okay, look, this will be in the next by the end of the year.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask, what should be the time lag in between? Now it's been signed into law. When should Nigerians expect to feel the impact of it?
Obviously, there will be some delays in acquiring equipment. There will be some delays in training the personnel. But hopefully, by the end of the year, we hope to see, and we hope in quotes, hope to stop hearing incidents. Even if there's been some, I think there's been an announcement that the press should take it easy on the reporting
of details of banditry, kidnapping.
We hope to not hear anything at all. We hope that
not that the press is not saying it, but it's not happening.
Yeah, it's being muffled. We hope that by the end of the year, businesses in those parts of the country, and especially farmers, people in agriculture and farming in those parts of the country, will be able to go about their business as they've always done. This is crucial for confidence and economic performance.
All right, we've talked about training personnel, buying equipment, but I hope we'll hear about technology too.
Obviously, technology, reconnaissance, intelligence, being able to gather information. The SIM card and NIN linkage is it's part of gathering.
Yes, it's been extended to October now.
Yeah. Yes, because I don't know if these bandits communicate via satellite phones. I imagine they use cell phones. I imagine that monies will be somehow taken to banks. Somehow, I believe that with intelligence is primary at this form. Data, we live in the information age, and somehow being able to gather data will make your job, any task, easier, especially tackling security.
You know, some people have said that it's not just about the money. I mean, for instance, the other time I took us to Dubai, they traced the sponsors of some terrorists, and they're expecting Nigerian government to take the step further and pursue those information. So some people just say it's not just about the money, and perhaps it's more of the willpower.
Yeah, money and power. In this part of the world, in the third world, power means money, and money means your ability.
The willpower means money.
Power typically means money.
Political will.
Money typically means the ability to acquire power, and that vicious cycle is entrenched. Okay. So if you're talking about people funding terrorism, it all comes down to data gathering, information, know where this financing is coming from, where is it going to. Being able to track that makes your job easier.
All right, let's look at what's happening in the oil market.
No, before we go there, today is FDC.
Oh, yes.
Today is MPC
our
meeting.
MPC, yes.
Yeah, in a couple of hours. I mean, we'd also like to use this opportunity to tell our viewers that at 1:30 we're going to have a special edition of Business Incorporated, where we'll give you the live decision of the MPC, the fourth for the year.
Yep.
But so what is FDC predicting from the meeting?
What's the forecast now?
I think in line with the market expectations, we expect that the MPC will maintain status quo on all its policy parameters and continue to use its orthodox orthodox tools to maintain orthodox liquidity management tools. We just continue what it's been doing for the past 3 quarters now. Basically, we've seen inflation fall, trend lower. Now that went against anecdotal evidence because most people felt that prices were rising.
Yes,
but
prices are rising.
Are rising.
They were not. They are rising.
prices are obviously
Gas is up now.
We were talking about fish this morning. I
Yes.
remember a kilo of fish.
Gas, everything is up. So if
Okay,
they were not, they are rising.
Prices are rising, but,
Exactly.
but at a continually slower pace.
Slower pace.
Slower pace. Prices are rising, but decelerating at the same time.
But there's rise.
Yeah. But the expectation is that as we enter the harvest season in Q3, well, this is July, by August, September, you have the harvest season, prices will fall further. Okay. So that would taper prices. So the MPC has that at the back of his mind. Also, economic growth at the moment has become a primary concern, basically. Ordinarily, price stability, tracking inflation and trying to keep inflation low. And obviously, because Nigeria is hugely dependent on imports, the currency. Those are typically what the CBN monitor. Right now, given where we're coming from, COVID, and the need to bolster growth, economic growth, it's a primary concern. The last Q1 growth came in at 0.5. It's positive, but it's fragile. And the Q2 growth numbers don't come out till August 26th or thereabouts. And obviously, we have the meeting today. The next MPC meeting is not until after that date. So whatever those numbers will feed into the decisions at the next MPC meeting. But for now, we think the MPC will maintain status quo and just watch to see, hopefully the growth picks up and inflation tapers. We feel that given that
it's growing at a slower pace.
Yes, at the time that we all thought that the inflation figures would soar, they slowed down. And now that at this time of the year, they typically slow down. So we expect it to fall further down. That's what.
Anyway, the World Bank has noted that Nigeria is going through its worst unemployment crisis in the moment. Over 20 million people left the Nigerian labor force, and that's a big number. How's that going to affect, production, commodities market, and the economy?
In the last 10 years, the report says in the last 10 years, unemployment has gone from 6.4% to the dramatically high 33.3% that we had reported last year. The major problem, obviously, that we have a huge population. We have there's a lack of opportunity, basically. Unemployment there's an output problem. The output problem has to do with your inability to produce and hire people. So this is a problem that, to some people, having that huge amount of people leave your workforce, obviously they are migrating, they are economic migrants to other parts of the world. Nigeria has this huge remittances, averaging about $25 billion that are coming every year. It's Nigeria's second largest source of foreign exchange. You have Nigerians, both qualified and unqualified, doing all sorts of jobs overseas, and they remit a huge amount of foreign exchange back home. This foreign exchange goes to supplement feeding, jobs, investment, and all whatnot. The fact that things have gotten worse in terms of Nigeria's population soaring and our ability and the inability of growth to capture these people that join the workforce over time means that you will have a lot of qualified people unemployed. The option is will you remain unemployed? And high unemployment typically leads to crime.
Yes.
Will you unemployment, or do you look for pastures greener overseas or pastures at all?
And at the same time, we have a lot of entrepreneurs now.
Yes.
You go on Instagram,
so we have a lot
you see a lot
of creation of jobs.
Yeah, so people are
but all that being said,
it
is barely enough. It's barely enough to scratch the surface of the unemployment problem. The fact that we have a lot of entrepreneurs means that the unemployment figures would have been worse
if we
didn't have that.
But what's bothers me more about that report is the increase in asylum seekers and refugee status. Is that normal? Is it just people looking for a way of escape?
Yes.
Or is there something actually done? Because if it's unemployment, yes, we know we have a large population, we don't have enough jobs. But when you hear of asylum seekers and refugee status,
ordinarily, economic migrants will need to meet certain requirements or standards before you could migrate to wherever. When you're unable to meet the standards, you look for what's the next option. I can seek asylum. I could seek refugee status. I just need to leave to somewhere where I feel that things will be better for me. So we've seen this increase dramatically as unemployment has soared.
Right.
So it's cause and effect, really. It's not
because
it's not
even with birds, you know, you see birds migrate from one area to another when there's maybe drought.
Yes, it's seasonal.
So it's a seasonal thing,
happens every
right?
year. But this isn't seasonal. This is just things are getting worse.
Right.
There's
So
a lack
just looking for
there's
a
a
way
lack
of
of
escape.
economic opportunity, and there's a surge in Nigeria's population. People are looking for moving to greener climes. That's what it is.
All right, let's look at price movement in the commodities market. What's going on there?
In the past month, basically, rice and cement prices have been the only stable prices. Every other price in the market is still up. Like we talked about a couple of minutes ago, prices are on the rise. There's higher logistics costs because of insecurity from the sources of the food belt area of the nation to down south. There's currency pressures leading to higher price of imported food. And obviously, there's seasonality.
Yeah.
At this point in time, we expect that prices will taper in the coming months. But for now, little scarcity leading to higher prices. So that's what we expect. But in the coming months, we expect prices to taper. If we have relatively higher oil prices, Nigeria's oil output is set to increase. OPEC has reached a deal, giving Nigeria's going to go back to 1.8.
1.8,
yes. So that's a huge boost in Nigeria's forex inflow. So we expect some currency stability in the coming months. So that would lower the cost of, obviously, have some reserves accretion, naira stability, lower cost.
And then we have
imports.
the harvest season coming up, and expect that will all combine to give Nigerians a sucker because honestly, the prices are really
fresh air.
the prices are really up, and it's very discouraging to a lot of people. Well, thank you so much, Nasike, for sharing your thoughts with us,
Always great to have you.
having an interesting conversation this morning with us.